For a few years now, Valve has been having their own little gaming festival where they showcase a ton of demos for upcoming games. Most of them either AA games or indies. I never really got around trying those in the past few years, so for 2023 I decided to download a bunch of demos and play them for fun. I've already seen comments and videos online commenting on how an event with downloadable demos is feeling far more fun and engaging than watching cringy glorified live commercials. And I'm always looking for new experiences, so I told myself, why not? So consider this video to be more of a highlight reel of what I played. I downloaded a lot of stuff blindly, and some stuff I didn't download despite looking promising because I don't really want to download demos that range from 10 to 30 gigabytes. I'm not really going to showcase everything either. Some of the stuff I downloaded looks fun, but I already found inconveniences like demos having no basic graphics options like resolution or being exclusively made to work with a controller, or the games in question not really doing anything that is worth mentioning, at least not in their current state. So with all that in mind, let's dive into this neat pile of demos and have some fun. These are gonna be showcased in the order that I play them, so we're gonna start off right away with... You know a game is going to be awesome when the very main menu is full of mystery and dread. The last thing I expected for Radio the World was to be a Souls-like, or at least Souls-like, and a really good one at that, because it's essentially done in the style of a classic Game Boy game. So to compress the complexities of a Souls-like into a top-down 2D game, you make the mechanics simpler, yet make them very fun. Our little robot here is heavy, so you have to play it smart whenever you are fighting and jumping around the map. Add to it a very unique kind of complexity to the Souls-like formula. Unlike most games, enemies will only drop XP if you kill them at exactly 0 HP. Your attacks can deal 2 to 3 HP of damage depending if you charge them or not. So there is an extra layer of being tactical with how you deal damage if you really want that XP boost. So it's more playing smart and less mashing the attack button until you win, to the point that you can even use enemies' attacks so they can hurt each other. Which is also made a lot more fun with the sheer atmosphere in this game. Everything looks run down, dark and depressing. Even for its simplistic graphics and true to the genre, our little protagonist is constantly going down and exploring a world that looks like it died long ago. If there's much of a plot, I don't know, but what little I played was neat. Simple. No need to overcomplicate things other than practicing and improving with each death. So, next. One of my main rules that made picking these demos so fun was just looking at the small video preview on the festival page. That's how you get some really fun surprises, like Witchspring R. Shame the name wasn't just Witch R Spring, which I really wanted my Witcher pun. Anyways, this is a genre I don't tackle into more often. The game is a hybrid. It is both an RPG, a slice-of-life simulator, and it is also a cutesy game about being a cute rabbit witch living alone in the forest. You get the usual stuff game of this style get. You get to gather ingredients for your own potions and healing items, you get a forest full of cute creatures you can kill for their meat, and you are also getting harassed by knights for some reason. And also this game has a robust turn-based JRPG system, complete with counterattacks, criticals, badass animations for when you're going to land a big hit. I was not expecting this to be so much fun and good. And just as I was thinking this will be all there is to my adventure, I gained a mind control spell, recruited a pig into my party, and we proceeded to kick all sorts of ass. And I was just giddy smiling, wondering where our next wacky adventure will take us. And to make things even better, there is a system where you can improve your stats by literally working out the specific part relevant to the stats. I love attention to detail like that. I do hope this game gets some of its kinks ironed out by the time it releases. My adventure sadly came to a screeching halt because a bug didn't let me get into a water navigation puzzle, and that made me very sad because I was actually having fun and I wanted to know where the story was going next. Either way, I am still wishlisting this one, so next game. This game had no right looking as cute as it did. Maki, Paw of Fury has to be one of the most adorable brawlers I lay my eyes on. True to many old school games of this kind, your girlfriend got kidnapped, so go beat up a bunch of other cute animals so you can rescue her. Right off the bat, this game is scratching all the right itches for me, no pun intended, of what I do love in a brawler. Animation is fluid, controls are very smooth, and there's even a combo counter. And if you manage to do a healthy one too, you can start juggling enemies to your heart's content. And true to the brawlers and beat 'em ups of old, you also need to be good with your reflexes, as enemies start very weak and easy to beat up, but as the adventure escalates, so does their aggression, meaning any unprepared player will be taking a serious beating. I like how even though this was a short demo, there's even set pieces. Not too remarkable, but crazy cartoony enough to keep up with the wackiness of this cute little cat beating the tar out of animals bigger than him. You can even start beating him up with a fish. A freaking fish. I do hope this gets more polished before release. A good number of my deaths had me juggle from one end of the screen to the other because my character kept sliding down every time he was hit hard enough. Makes it more annoying when some enemies require you to be patient and pick up your right time to beat them. I still enjoyed this one enough to wishlist it, so no regrets on my end. Next game. I knew I was getting a Metroidvania out of this demo, but I did not expect it to be so fun and addictive that I finished it in one sitting, and it also got me wanting for more. Green Guardians is another indie game aping up the classic Castlevania vibes, while also having you play as two anime sisters who also happen to be demon hunters. The unique spin here is that you can tag each sister in and out, as both are playable. Both have their own unique styles too. One has a machine gun, the other more traditional close-quartered attacks. These are some of the best controlled Metroidvania characters I've enjoyed, even on the hardest difficulty, which is closer to how classic Castlevania played. These two synergize so well with each other, I didn't actually die at all despite the overwhelming odds. So basically, the difficulty here is that if one sister loses all her health, she gets knocked down and the remaining sister is sent back to the checkpoint. You have an extra risk of having to clear respawning enemies and then finally resurrect your partner with a neat health refill. It was very thrilling and I love it. Same with the bosses in this game. I can tell it is going to be a serious treat, especially with how each boss and area are themed accordingly. The one thing I didn't like too much was the voices, and I do hope the game gets volume controls when it fully releases. This is one of those games where the player characters will not shut up at all. I don't know, maybe I'm an old man, but let me tell you, the last thing I want in my gameplay is my main character calling their attacks ad nauseum. I read there is going to be options for different VA languages, but I will be happy to just have a mute option or a volume slider. Still, this one has me excited for the new release, so until it comes out I'll probably play Bloodstain or something. Anyways, next game. You know what we don't get enough these days? Games that use environmental storytelling and move their narrative by showing rather than telling. Talkative characters and exposition dumps are nice, but sometimes you just want to enjoy the silence. Bramble the Mountain King is probably one of the biggest surprises I had for this festival. It is a platformer game in the same vein as Limbo, Inside, or even Little Nightmares, but with a Nordic Grimm Brothers twist to it. And just like the games I mentioned, the game lures you in with its whimsical early tone and beautiful visuals to tell you a tale of a boy looking for his sister in a forest that is gigantic and scary compared to our hero's very small size. And then the pleasantries end after a lovely reunion of even smaller dwarves and the real challenge begins. The platforming is a fun challenge, there is even a light system, and at every turn you are being told a story, mostly via visuals with no dialogue. Except for the occasional narrator input to give you just the bare minimum context for you to get an idea of what is going on. And then, just as you think you are well adjusted to everything, a boss fight happens. I find myself gasping, dodging danger, I'm at the edge of my seat, I'm doing a small timing puzzle to avoid dying. And I do end up dying several times, but just as I think I have everything dominated and about to get away for a terrifying violinist, the demo ends. I don't think I have gelled as much as I did to this demo, and just for that I am wishlisting them. Also, I need to say that this is probably the first game that I didn't really mind setting to 30 FPS. People like to talk about cinematic feeling in games and how 30 FPS makes it feel like a movie. I'll say this game did come closer to feeling like an animated movie, with the gameplay feeling still good enough even at 30 FPS, so I kept it in just because I wanted to see what the developers had to offer, and I was actually pleased. I can't wait to see what else they got to offer with this story. They really got me hooked, so before I start rambling some more, let's go to the next game. Anyone who knows me personally or follows this channel will know that I am a sucker for roguelikes. Something about the difficulty curve, the procedurally generated levels, the constant progression, and feeling like you're getting better with each run, it all just hits the right spots for me. And Ark Runner ended up being that kind of roguelike to really scratch that itch. Set in a cyberpunk Halo-esque space station, you play as the lone survivor of a cyberpunk apocalypse. Your goal is to restore the systems back to normal, but to do that, you have to traverse every city in the station. Easier said than done because the entire automated system wants to kill you. What made this one stick out for me aside from being a third-person shooter is the inventory management. You only get one weapon and one gadget at a time. And while enemies drop plenty of those, you have to leave something behind, so you get to do some decision making in what to take, what to leave, and how to synergize it to your benefit. And all of this is made better by the fact enemies are not pushovers. Early stages ease you into the combat, enemies telegraph their attacks and you can take them down before they do, or raise your shield to protect yourself at the last second. It becomes extra useful if you have to reload your gun and you're exposed to enemy fire. Later stages, however, start swarming you or spawning one or two enemies behind you, so you have to be constantly on your toes, otherwise you're gonna get overwhelmed and killed. But true to every roguelike, progress you make unlocking weapons or permanent upgrades to your characters carry over for the next run. So no matter what happens, you are always making progress. I love that. And what I love the most is that I don't think I would have thought of noticing these games even for a moment if Valve hadn't put them in front of me, and letting me judge for myself by experiencing, rather than just watching trailers or having cringy presenters try and sell me on these experiences.